My name is Alina. I'm 19 years old, and this is the truth of the night that changed everything. It was not just the first night of my marriage. It was the first night I truly understood love, not the love I saw in movies, not the kind written in fairy tale books, but something quiet, sacred, and deep. Before that night, I had so many thoughts, some sweet, some scary, some I couldn't even explain. I felt excited, but it was wrapped in fear. I felt curiosity, but it came with confusion. People told me, "You're lucky, Alina. You're getting a good man." They smiled as they placed the red veil over my head, but no one asked how I really felt. Inside, I was a storm. The wedding was full of music and bright lights. Laughter filled the air. My hands were heavy with henna, my dress stitched with gold. But my heart was beating in silence. I kept smiling, greeting relatives and accepting compliments. Yet, under all the sparkle, I was a girl trembling with questions. Was I ready? What if I wasn't? What if something went wrong? I had never even kissed anyone before. No boy had touched my hand. I had never imagined myself lying in a bed with a man, alone, with no one to rescue me if things turned bad. They told me, "This is a woman's duty. Be strong, be calm, be silent." But no one told me how. That night, when all the guests had left, when the last firecracker had died in the sky, I was taken to a room. The room was decorated beautifully, soft lights, rose petals on the bed, candles burning gently near the mirror. It looked like a dream. But I didn't feel dreamy. I felt small, like a child lost in a grown-up world. The door closed behind me and I sat on the bed, my legs folded tightly under me. My heart was beating so loud I was sure it could be heard in the hallway. I waited. Then the door opened. He stepped in. Ryan, my husband. A man I had only seen 3 times before the wedding, each time with a dozen people around us. He was tall, calm-looking, and quiet. He had spoken little during the engagement, just enough to be polite. But now he looked different. Not louder, just clearer. His eyes met mine and stayed there. He didn't rush. He didn't speak. He walked in slowly and closed the door gently behind him. And I felt like I couldn't breathe. Would he touch me now? Would he expect me to act like a wife already? My hands were cold. My lips were dry. I looked down, too afraid to meet his eyes again. He came closer. I felt the bed shift as he sat beside me. I didn't move. Then his voice broke the silence. "Alina," he said softly. I looked at him. "I know you're scared," he said. "And that's okay. We don't have to do anything tonight. Or tomorrow, or ever, until you feel ready." Tears filled my eyes instantly. He didn't touch me. He didn't reach for me. He just sat there and let me breathe. I had expected so many things, but not this. Not kindness, not patience. Not a man who saw the storm inside me and didn't try to calm it with force, but with silence and space. I turned my head away and wiped my eyes. I hated that I cried, but I couldn't help it. His words had reached somewhere deep. He waited. After some time, I found my voice and said, "I don't know what to do." He smiled. "That's okay. You don't need to know. We can just talk if you want." So we talked. About the wedding, about how tired we were, about the food, the music, the uncle who danced too much. And somehow that awkward wall between us started to melt. I found myself laughing softly. I saw him smile, and for the first time, I noticed how gentle his smile was. Not fake, not stiff, just honest. Then he said, "Can I hold your hand?" That question surprised me. He didn't take it, he asked. And something about that made me feel respected, not owned. I nodded, and he reached out slowly. His fingers touched mine, and I felt a tiny spark. His hand was warm. Mine was still cold, but they matched somehow. We sat like that for a long time. No big moves, no heavy words. Just two people sitting in silence, hands locked gently. Later he stood up and brought me a glass of water. "Drink something," he said. "You didn't eat much all day." I took the glass and drank slowly. He watched me, not with desire, but with care. It felt strange, but good to be seen that way. Then he said, "You must be tired. I'll sleep on the couch tonight. You take the bed." I looked at him, shocked. "No, it's okay. We can both stay here." "Are you sure?" he asked. "Yes," I said, surprising even myself. He smiled again and nodded. He turned away and began removing his watch, his coat. Nothing rushed, nothing intense. Just a man getting ready to rest. I went to the bathroom to change into something more comfortable. When I returned, the room felt different. Less like a decorated stage, more like a place we both belonged in. I sat back on the bed. He turned off the main lights and left only the small lamp glowing. Then he lay down beside me, keeping a respectful distance. I turned toward him and whispered, "Thank you." "For what?" "For being gentle." He looked at me and said, "You don't have to thank me. You deserve it." His words stayed with me. I don't know how or when, but at some point I moved closer. Maybe it was the way his breath sounded so calm. Maybe it was the way he didn't expect anything. I placed my head on his shoulder. He didn't speak. He just wrapped his arm around me lightly. And in that moment, I felt safe. Really safe. It wasn't about romance yet. It was about trust. About breathing without fear. About being held without being taken. Later that night, he kissed the top of my head. I turned my face upward. Our eyes met again. He whispered, "May I kiss you?" I nodded. And when our lips met, it wasn't fire. It wasn't madness. It was something softer, like touching water under moonlight. Something deep but peaceful. I had never known a kiss could feel like that. We kissed again. Slower. Longer. His fingers gently touched my hair, then my cheek. Every movement was a question, and every response from me was an answer. He didn't rush. He never made me feel like I had to do anything. I don't know what time it was when I whispered, "I'm still scared." He pulled me close and said, "Then let's not rush anything. Let's just sleep like this." And we did. Our bodies touched, but not in hunger. Our hands remained together through the night. His chest was my pillow, and for the first time in days, my heart stopped racing. That was the night I began to understand what love can be. Not loud, not forced, but quiet, respectful, and kind. The next morning, sunlight crept through the soft curtains and touched my face like a shy kiss. I opened my eyes slowly, not knowing for a moment where I was. And then I saw him, Rayen, still asleep, his face relaxed, His arm gently draped over me. Memories of the night before floated back to me like gentle waves. His words, his hands, his kindness. I smiled without realizing. I had expected the first night to be something terrifying, something strange and uncomfortable. But it turned into something completely different. It wasn't about passion alone. It was about safety. He gave me that, without asking for anything in return. I didn't wake him. I just lay there quietly, listening to the soft rhythm of his breath. His chest rose and fell like calm tides, and I felt a warmth spread through me that had nothing to do with heat. It was a warmth of feeling wanted, not as a bride, not as a body, but as Alina. Me. After some time, he stirred and opened his eyes. He looked at me with a lazy smile. "Good morning," he whispered. "Good morning," I whispered back. "Did you sleep well?" I nodded, then added, "Better than I thought I would." He smiled again, and then did something that made my heart melt. He reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. No rush. Just a soft, thoughtful gesture. "You look peaceful," he said. I blushed. I had no makeup on, no jewelry. My lips were dry and my hair a little messy, but somehow in that moment I felt beautiful. We got up slowly. He offered to help me with my hair. I laughed, thinking he was joking, but he wasn't. He sat behind me on the bed, combing gently through my long black hair with his fingers, saying, "I want to learn this. Every part of your life. I want to know it." We had tea together, sitting on the balcony of our small apartment, wrapped in a blanket. The sky was still golden from the morning sun, and the birds were busy telling each other secrets. As we sipped tea, he said something simple that struck me deeply. "Alina, I don't want to rush through this marriage. I want us to grow it, water it, like a tree, slowly, carefully. I don't need you to be perfect. I just want you to be real." I had no words, just a lump in my throat. We didn't do anything grand that day. We stayed indoors. We played music. We watched the rain fall outside. He made me laugh with silly stories from his college life. He told me how nervous he was the first time he saw me, and when he touched me again, it was after I had touched him first. That evening, I leaned my head on his shoulder, and my hand naturally slid into his. He looked at me, asked me again, "Are you okay?" "Yes," I said. He kissed me, deeper this time, still slow, still soft, but with more trust now. Our fingers explored slowly. Our breath synced. There was nothing hurried, nothing heavy. It felt like a conversation between two people who had known each other for years, even though it had only been a day. He undressed me the way someone opens a gift they've waited for patiently. Every inch he uncovered, he kissed, not because he wanted to take something, but because he wanted to honor it. When we made love for the first time, it wasn't fireworks. It was a sunrise, slow, bright, quiet, powerful. There were no loud cries, just gentle gasps, soft moans, silent promises. And when it was over, he didn't pull away. He didn't fall asleep. He held me. He stroked my back. He whispered, "Thank you for trusting me." No man had ever thanked me for anything like that. I didn't know it would feel like this. Like I gave something, but also received something even more. He didn't just touch my skin. He touched my spirit.